It's now time for your favorite in-depth basketball show with the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg, and Raindrops Nard.
Three of the most important figures in basketball history are in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Welcome to Full Court Press. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet, joined as always by the Nard Dogg, David Bernardi. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame. The class of 2016 was huge. First things first, Nard Dogg, how's it going?
It's going good. Just enjoying life. And I'm excited for the new basketball season to begin.
Excellent. It's going to be a great one, especially with the Raptors, some of their new additions to the team. Let's talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, the three big names that we're going to focus on in this episode, of course, Yao Ming, Shaquille O'Neal, and the answer, Allen Iverson. But before we get into their induction speeches, special shout out to all the other inductees this year. Cheryl Swoops, one of the most legendary women basketball players of all time, Cumberland Posey, Zelma Beatty, Tom Izzo, John McClendon, Jerry Reinsdorf, and Daryl Garrettson. All very important figures to the world of basketball. Like, kudos to all of them. Let's go into the big three speeches. Start with Yao Ming. What did you think about Yao Ming's speech?
Yeah, start with Yao Ming. Yeah, I thought it was good. It wasn't longer than Shaq and Iverson's. I think it was about 15 minutes. But he didn't have a long career, but his impact globally in basketball is just, it's awesome. And he could have had a way better NBA career, but those foot injuries just cut him short. And his speech was pretty funny. What do you think of it?
I really enjoyed his speech. My favorite part was when he was talking about how his Rockets teammates were so welcoming when he first started, and he told that story about how Katina Mobley invited him over to his house for some soul food. I thought that was hilarious, and just it was such a good, heartwarming speech. Short and sweet, like you said. Shaq and Iverson's speeches were both about half an hour. Yao's was half that time, but he said a lot in the speech, and like you brought up, his impact on the game of basketball on a global level is huge, and there's very few players that have had such a strong impact globally. Yao Ming, not the first Chinese player in the NBA, that was Wang Zizi, that he mentioned that name in his speech.
Good old Wang Zizi.
Wang Zizi. It was nice to see Yao giving props to Wang Zizi, and it's just a very good speech, and what a wonderful career. Like you said, a short career for Yao Ming. It's unfortunate that he had to deal with those injuries that he could have gone on for a lot longer, I think, but a great impact on the game globally, and a great career even though it was short.
Yeah, it's good of him to thank guys like Mobley and Steve Francis. Yeah, Steve Francis wasn't in attendance, but he's not looking great these days.
No, he isn't? Oh, that's unfortunate. Stevie franchise?
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed Yao's speech, and I could say the same thing about Shaq's speech. Another big man, one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant big man in NBA history. Shaquille O'Neal. I thought Shaq's speech was fantastic. I really appreciated the guys that he had up presenting him.
Yeah, it was Bill Russell. Who else was it?
Isaiah Thomas was there.
Yes, Isaiah Thomas.
Dr. J.
Yeah, Dr. J.
And was Dikembe was up there for Yao, correct? Or was Dikembe up there for Shaq?
No, he was up there for Yao.
Yeah, Dikembe was up there for Yao. Bill Walton was also up there for Yao as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shaq's speech. Shaq's one of the most charismatic players to ever play in the NBA. So of course Shaq's speech was really funny.
He's giving chirping Kobe.
Kobe said something along the lines of Kobe helped him win championships, but he also forced him out of Los Angeles and brought him to Miami. It was really funny and said it with so much heart. I thought Shaq's speech was really funny, and even when he's telling these jokes, he says it so deadpan and so serious, but then he just cracks that little smile or just laughs a little bit. It was great. I really liked Shaq's speech. Everybody he was thanking. It was a half-hour long speech, which seems like a long speech, but it didn't feel that long because it was so interesting to hear
Yeah.
what he had to say.
Yeah, and like you can tell he's like all well spoken now. Being on that TNT crew, he's just got some experience there. Now he just doesn't sound like a bumbling idiot.
You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about. When he first started off broadcasting, he was very rough, and he is getting better and better with practice and time.
Yeah.
I liked how the story that Shaq shared about Yao, how he thought Yao couldn't speak English, and then yeah, Yao hit a fadeaway. Shaq was guarding him in a game, and Yao hit a turnaround fadeaway. And didn't Shaq say something along the lines of "Nice shot, Yao"? And then Yao looked at him and said, "Thanks, bro," or something like that.
Yeah. You can tell whenever they face off each other, they just had a lot of fun.
Which is it's so wonderful to see that, especially two guys like Yao and Shaq, the two massive human beings. Wonderful. It's so awesome.
Those were the days of big men.
Big time. Totally. Now, going towards smaller statured, probably one of the best. Like LeBron James has said it. This man is the best player pound for pound. The answer, Allen Iverson. And this was the first speech that I watched, and this was the one that was the most touching, at least for me. Very emotional speech. And you brought up a really good point that the night, although all these other inductees were put into the Hall of Fame, Yao and Shaq and all these other names, but the night, like you said, was really Allen Iverson's night.
Yeah, it totally was. And I love the beginning of it where he's just praising his mom and like saying how if it wasn't for his mom, like she's the one who like told him to go to this basketball practice because he was not interested. He wanted to be an NFL star, but he went to that basketball practice and look what happened. He's a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, former NBA MVP, multiple-time All-Star.
So kudos to Mrs. Iverson.
Yep, and just Allen Iverson overcame so much.
Yeah.
You know, back in the early 90s, that brawl at the bowling alley, that it just like a lot of controversy in his career. And you talk about Yao is such an important figure to the global game, and Shaq is such an important figure to basketball as well for the way that big men play basketball. But Iverson, such a huge influence on the league and the basketball culture, because the worlds of hip hop and basketball are very, you know, they're very linked these days, and Iverson played a huge part in that cross culture. He was, I think, the major catalyst in bringing that world of hip hop into the world of basketball.
Yeah, he started it all off, and what I also loved is how he talked about John Thompson, how no basketball team, like no schools wanted to get Iverson because of all those troubling stuff that was happening, and then John Thompson comes along and he goes to Georgetown and he just like welcomed him like a second father, pretty much.
Yeah, it was incredible. You know, he was saying how John Thompson basically almost saved his life, and that was a really touching moment, very sweet. Iverson, as I said before, Iverson is my favorite basketball player of all time. I think he's a true legend. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And it was amazing watching his speech. I teared up watching when his jersey got retired by the Philadelphia 76ers, and I certainly teared up watching that Hall of Fame speech. It was definitely something really special.
Yeah, it was very emotional also when he was talking about his kids, and then he ended off his speech just thanking his wife. It was amazing.
Incredible.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of teared up.
Oh yeah, and it was a very emotional speech, a very emotional moment, and because you said, the night was Allen Iverson's night, and even Yao and Shaq kind of alluded to that. It was a great watching those speeches. All three of those big names, such incredible impact on the game of basketball, just on the court and off the court. Yao Ming, Shaquille O'Neal, and Allen Iverson, and of course all the other inductees into this year's Hall of Fame class. Really something special. Now, you want to talk about future Hall of Famers. few players that have announced their retirement from the NBA. You know,
Yeah.
that era is coming to an end.
Yeah, we all know about Kobe, but then there was Tim Duncan earlier this summer, and then most recently last week, the big ticket Kevin Garnett announced his retirement. Great 20-year career out of that guy. He was actually one of my favorite players growing up, but he went to those Celtics and they're Raptors rivals. Just it didn't mix well with me, but I loved him on the T-Wolves.
Oh yeah, I was a big fan of Kevin Garnett and the T-Wolves. Although the Raptors and Celtics have that rivalry, I still rooted for the Celtics when they had that big three of Pierce, Ray Allen, and Garnett. I wasn't a huge fan of Garnett when he went to the Brooklyn Nets, but what an outstanding career! You talk about a huge Hall of Fame class. If this year was something special, it certainly was with Iverson, Shaq, and Yao. In five years, it's going to be incredible seeing Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan, because they're certainly first ballot Hall of Famers. No doubt about that.
Yeah, and like back to Kevin Garnett, he was one of the greatest power forwards of all time, in my opinion. He's like the only 7-footer that played like a guard. It was
Unbelievable.
awesome.
So quick and so agile. Just everything he could do on the court. The big ticket. It's a lot of fun to watch.
His passion for the game was fantastic.
He was one of the most intense players I've ever watched playing basketball.
And like all these NBA players are coming out saying, "Oh, they wish they played with Kevin Garnett because of his love for the game, his passion, and all that." It's awesome.
Certainly something special. Yeah, the Hall of Fame, a prestigious honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's great to see all these amazing athletes take their place in the Hall, their rightful place in the Hall of Fame, just their impacts on the game. And it's very special to watch players today and kind of pick out, because I know you said, like, one name that you've thrown out there that you think is a future Hall of Famer is a guy like Karl Anthony Towns. It's interesting watching these younger guys and trying to pick who do you think is going to have that huge impact on the game. Who do you think is going to do so well that one of these days they're going to be joining the guys that we're talking about now? They're going to be joining them in the Hall of Fame. It's amazing. Really something special.
And Towns had 1 year playing with Kevin Garnett, and I'm assuming the Wolves will probably have Garnett be part of the organization somehow. So he'll be a great mentor for Towns.
I would think so. And you must have heard, you definitely heard about Greg Popovich saying that Tim Duncan could have any job he wants with the Spurs. He could do whatever he wants on the coaching staff.
Tyronn Lue offered Garnett a coaching job.
Yeah, I heard about that. Allen Iverson,
No, was it Iverson?
I'm not sure. I just know, I remember that Iverson in his Hall of Fame speech made reference to the step over on Lue.
I
Awesome.
believe Tyronn Lue offered both Iverson and Garnett coaching jobs.
Wow, interesting.
It's not going to happen though.
No, it's not going to happen. I'd like to see Garnett work with the Timberwolves, kind of player development, and I'd like to see Tim Duncan work with the Spurs, stay with the organization.
I just can't see Duncan being a coach.
I really enjoy. One thing I really like about Tim Duncan, you talk about Allen Iverson bringing in that hip hop culture to the world of basketball and that like style. You look at Tim Duncan. I remember seeing an article. It was just a bunch of photos of Tim Duncan, and it's like the many styles of Tim Duncan through the years. And he's wearing like these baggy collared shirts and like, it's wonderful.
I think where we're going to see Tim Duncan is in a lineup at Best Buy or something.
Yeah.
Or just like going fishing.
Going fishing out at the cabin, enjoying some sun. Now, moving on to other news around the league, something a little bit. It's sad. It's a sad story, and I really hope it's not the end of his career. But I think we should talk about Chris Bosh. Bosh, I don't know what the situation is going to be going forward for Bosh. Pat Riley has said that his time is done with the Heat because of the injuries. Do you think that this is the end of Chris Bosh's basketball career?
Like what Dwayne Wade alluded to the other day, he's like, Bosh should just think about his family and just retire. He's won 2 championships. He's made 11 All-Star teams. He's won a gold medal. Like,
I say it's kind of like Yao retiring early because of injuries. That's a good way to look at it. Think about your family and think about your future. Because Bosh is only 30. He's only 32 years old.
yeah,
He's got plenty of time to live. So if he has to retire, retire. Like, do what's best for your family. And the thing is with Chris Bosh, I say maybe not first ballot, but Chris Bosh is a Hall of Famer.
oh, without a doubt, he's a Hall of Famer.
I put Chris Bosh in there for sure. Like, he's had a great career. It was unfortunate to see him leave the Raptors, but I'm glad he went with the Heat because he's able to win that championship and take that extra step in his career. And that kind of launched him to that Hall of Fame level.
But yeah, he had his awesome 6-7 years with the Raptors, won those championships, and he should just hang it up.
Yeah, if that's what the doctors recommend that he do for his own health, as difficult as that would be, like Dwayne Wade said, you got to think about your family, think about your future. So if Chris Bosh were to retire, so be it. He goes out as one of the best Raptors of all time.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the best Raptors of all time, no doubt. Top 3, I'd say.
Top 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. And he's got a shot to. Well, he's going into the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's happening.
I'm very sure that Chris Bosh is going into the Hall of Fame one of these days.
Christopher Wesson Bosh will be a Hall of Famer.
That he will be, and it's going to be a wonderful moment. And I'd personally like to see the Raptors retire Bosh's jersey one of these days.
Really?
I know it sounds kind of shocking because we've seen other 4s after Bosh left. Of course, Quincy Acey, Louis Scola.
Yeah, I think it's a little too premature to retire his Raptors jersey.
Yeah. One of these days, looking further down the line.
Like right now, I can understand Vince Carter or Lowry or DeRozan. We shall see.
Yep. Now, looking at the Raptors, recent preseason action, a special game held on the West Coast.
Canadian series.
In Vancouver. Yeah. Raptors defeating the Golden State Warriors in preseason action, 97-93. Jared Sullinger did a good job in his Raptors debut. 7 points, 10 rebounds. Pascal Siakam, what'd you say he had? He had, 8 points, 9 rebounds?
9 points, 8 rebounds.
9 points, 8
he was
rebounds.
a hustler.
Yeah, there you go. And like you said, that's what he was drafted for.
He scored the game-winning basket. He got the offensive rebound and put it in.
Oh, right on. What did you think overall of the Raptors' performance in that preseason game?
Well, you can't really tell much in preseason, but
fair enough.
It was good to see Siakam, of course, Jakob Poeltl, all those guys. Even Terrence Ross lit it up, but that's only preseason, like I said.
You don't really hold out much hope for Terrence Ross.
Yeah, it's his 5th year. If he doesn't perform consistently, then just waive him.
Just waive him and move on to other players.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Lowry and DeRozan were regular selves. But yeah, we haven't even talked about the Warriors and Durant.
Yeah, what do you think about Durant on the Warriors roster? What do you think about all that?
It was kind of weird. He started off 0 for 5 from the field, but he got it going. He only played 17 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He had one breakaway dunk, and the crowd just went insane. Of course.
Well, of course, that's bound to happen, right?
And
that would have been
rookie, Siakam. He actually blocked Durant early in the game.
Ah, right on. Good stuff. First NBA appearance. Yeah, those tickets. It would have been great to go to that game, but those tickets just sold out in minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people from like Seattle too, and like all that, like because it's close to Vancouver, right?
Oh yeah. You just it's just a drive away. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a good season for the Toronto Raptors. I am very much looking forward to the start of the NBA season. We're close. We're close to the start of the regular season.
Yeah, and I think like in a couple of weeks we can probably tell what's happening during preseason. Just give our vibes and all that.
Exactly. A little bit more, get a better reading as to what we can expect in the regular season, perhaps.
Yeah, and lastly, I feel like we talk about this guy every episode, but DeMarcus Cousins was seen wearing Raptors shorts during practice the other day.
Foreshadowing? Possibly.
Yeah, giving out those hints.
Yeah, you never know. It could be the year, and I think, like you've brought up before, DeMarcus Cousins, I think, would be a lot happier on the Raptors than he is on the Kings.
I think we've talked about how he's matured.
Mm-hmm.
I think going to a team like the Raptors, having that big three would be beautiful.
It'd be fantastic, and he's going to play with DeMar DeRozan, one of his friends, so we'll see what happens. You never know. That could be a huge piece to take the Raptors to that next level.
Oh, they're definitely conference finals every year.
Yeah, they're there, and it's fantastic to see that. It's awesome.
And I still think it's just the Valanciunas, Ross, and first-round pick trade away from getting Cousins.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. We'll see what Masai Ujiri's got up his sleeves, because I just I get that sense that he's always got something up his sleeves. He's always looking forward to what the next move, what move needs to be done to take that next step.
Yeah, and getting that surprise pick, Pascal Siakam, looked pretty good in that first game.
Yeah, great to see. It's going to be a good season, Nard Dogg.
Oh, it definitely is.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for this episode of Full Court Press. Nard Dogg, where can people chat with you about basketball?
As always, you can check me out on the Twitter at DavidBernardi7.
Excellent. And you can find me on Twitter as well, at JustinGoulet21. And don't forget to check out the Facebook page, Full Court Press, and the YouTube channel. All past episodes, you could look back and check out all the interviews we've done and all the other topics we've talked about in the world of basketball. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Justin Raindrops Goulet.
And I'm the Nard Dog, David Bernardi.
And we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
You've just been hit with Full Court Press. Courtesy of the men, the myths, the legends, Nard Dogg and Raindrops Goulet.